Hey everybody, it's Stephanie Noel from ModCityMag.com and welcome to day 3 of the Mod City Music Business 101 Bootcamp. That's such a mouthful. On Monday we discussed the elements of management in an artist's career. Yesterday we discussed booking. Today we're going to talk about record labels, or labels as they're often referred to in the biz. I know I throw around, I worked at a label, and people sometimes just don't know what I mean. I mean record labels. So we're going to talk about the different departments in a record label. We're going to talk about A&R, marketing, radio promotion, and creative services. Let me move this. And we'll zoom in a little bit more so you can see this. Once again, I will post all this information in the information section of this video, so if you can't see it, again, just notes for me basically. I actually worked at a record label for almost 2 years in Nashville. It was a subsidiary of EMI, which was then recently bought out by Universal, so it was a major record label, and I had a great experience and I learned a lot about the different departments. So this is actually an area I do feel pretty confident in sharing about. Still, if you have any additional questions that I don't cover, please feel free to comment below. I will do my best to answer them, or again, look up a resource for you and post it for you so you can dive a little deeper. Again, surface level things here. There are two different kinds of record labels. There are major record labels and independent record labels. For major labels are big name labels that now in the industry, since EMI, which was a huge label that started off in the UK many, many years ago, was bought out by Universal. Universal is one of the industry leads. Then there's Sony Music and there's Waner Brothers. Something that the everyday person may not understand is under each one of these major label names are many, many different little labels underneath. I don't know how many each of these major labels have little subsidiaries underneath them. I don't know how many, but many of them have different names. Right now I'm working with Universal a lot for Mod City Mag. I'm on their promotion list, and I'm constantly getting emails from Republic Publicity or Republic Records, which is a smaller label underneath Universal. So an artist could be signed to Universal Music and yet also be signed to Republic because it is a smaller version or a smaller little piece or company or label underneath Universal. I know it gets really confusing and messy. Basically, what you need to know is an artist can be signed to multiple labels. So if you see at the back of their CD, they have these little names of their record labels. They may have 2 or 3. It gets confusing. Again, you can dig a little deeper on that by doing basic Google search on makeups of record labels. But those are the 3 big names. If you're not signed to a big name, again, those are pipe dream, things for many artists. You can also go the independent route. There are still some very, very successful artists right now that are on independent labels. Independent labels have a little less control sometimes of an artist's career. They allow the artist to be a little bit more of themselves, whereas if you go with a larger name label, they have a little more control over your career, as well as they offer more money a lot of times in advance to help you out build your career, but they have more control over it because they are giving you more of their money. They want to make sure you're successful. So, there's some pros and cons between the two of them. Again, the independent label will oftentimes provide you with a little more personalized plans, whereas a major label will go with what they know works and won't necessarily look at the elements of your individual career. The downside to independent labels is they oftentimes aren't able to provide you with enough money to upfront your, initial CD costs. And again, diving into that whole world of record contracts and stuff, another video. But we'll just stay with this right now. So some of the bigger name independent labels are Big Machine, Taylor Swift's label, Coalition, which is actually out of Canada, and French Kiss. They have artists, a lot of indie artists that fall into the kind of hipster genre, Passion Pit, those kind of artists. Again, big name artists, but a little bit different kind of format of how the label is made up. You may also hear of just indie artists, and I think that's oftentimes confusing because there are independent record labels and there are independent artists. And independent artists may not be on an independent label, they just may totally be doing it themselves out of their house and they don't have a label at all. So just so you know, you can hear the word independent thrown out in a couple of different ways nowadays, so it can get a little confusing. Alright, now we're going to dive a little deeper into each department in a record label. For example, reasons today, an example, I want to discuss major record labels. Again, working for EMI for a little bit, this is how the general label is made up in these 4 departments. I'm sure there are many other elements and other labels that do pop up, but these are the big ones. The first one is A&R. A&R stands for Artist and Repertoire. They are the people who actually find the artists and sign them. Back in the day, that looked like these reps going out to shows and actually scouting out artists and saying, wow, they're really good, I want to meet with them and possibly sign them to our record label. Nowadays, things are done a little differently. Many A&R reps oftentimes do go out to shows still, but a lot of it's internet-based. People are finding bands on YouTube, on their SoundCloud channels, all different web-based. So it's not so much traveling out to shows anymore that artists are A&R reps go out and do. They find things just by sitting in their offices today. They also do sort through submissions that come through the mail. Again, not so much, but they also they do meet one-on-one with artist managers sometimes that they have built relationships with, that they trust these managers are bringing them quality talents, and then they'll kind of work with them. Once an artist is signed to a record label, the A&R reps are oftentimes the people who work with them and develop their sound. They make sure they're super crisp and that the sound that they are putting on their record sounds good. They're not just making poor quality work. They also oftentimes are the people who are helping choose the songs that are going to end up on the CD that they're working on. A&R reps have to have a really well-rounded knowledge of the business world of music as well as the actual music world. That was something that I didn't know prior to working in a label. I thought, anybody can kind of have an ear for music and scout out talent, but you really have to understand music and what, different sounds on a guitar will sound better in certain songs, and that's the repertoire part of the A&R label. So that was something that really was interesting to me. Finally, they really help perfect the artist image. They want the overall image of the artist or brand of the artist to be cohesive. So A&R reps oftentimes meet with marketing, they meet with radio promotion, they meet with creative services, kind of being that overall representative of the artist in the label. So they have a big part, and many A&R reps are assigned certain artists on their roster and work with several artists. Again, most of them have been in the industry for a while and have well understanding of the different elements. Next, we're going to talk about marketing, or in some labels it's called artist development. Artist development reps or marketing reps for short are called ADs, artist development, ADs. An artist is assigned an AD when they're signed with a label, and this is a person who has a team of marketing specialists who are working purely on that artist to market them out to the world. They develop the image, so they help build what they want to present to the public. Again, they're working with that A&R rep and building that image. They help keep the product and the artist's image, so the product would be like the CDs, any of the merchandise, make sure it's all a cohesive brand and make sure it all makes sense. They also are the people who really create creative promotions and getting the band's name out there, whether it's giving away a signed guitar by that artist or coming up with a poster designing contest for the artist. They are the brains behind all of those promotions and ways of just getting the artist's name out into the public. Again, they are a representative of that specific artist, again, kind of working hand in hand with A&R, also working with radio and with creative services very closely in making sure everything is all tied together for the career of an artist. Next, we're going to talk about radio promotion. That's actually the department I worked in when I worked at EMI CMG. I was an admin, so I was an actual radio promoter, but radio promotion and radio promoters are the manager levels in radio promotion, are the people that are actually picking out the songs that are going to be radio singles for an artist. Not every song on every artist's CD is going to be good for radio, and many times radio promoters are people who have actually been DJs or program directors at radio stations deciding which music's going to be played, so they understand the world of radio, which is why I kind of dived into radio promotion, because I came from a radio station, so kind of had a background on that. Not only do they pick the songs that are going to be on the radio, they are actually the people who are picking up the phone and calling radio stations across the country and pushing the songs of the artists to radio stations. Basically, it's very much a sales job. It's picking up the phone saying, hey, we just released a new single for, John Smith, just throwing out an example name there, for John Smith. It's a great single, your listeners are going to love it, it's going to be a hit, you got to play this. So they're selling that song to the radio station. The radio station hopefully will say, hey, that artist either has a really good track record of having radio, hits, or hey, it does sound good, I think I'm going to give it a try, and then they throw it on air and give it some spins. So it's very much a sales position. You have to really believe in your artist that you're working with, and have a pretty good knowledge of what is being played on certain radio stations. Finally, there is an element of promotion involved. That's why the overall department of labels are often called radio promotion departments or national promotion departments, meaning nationally across the country, working with stations all over. There's very much a hand-in-hand with marketing in radio promotion, because this is an element of getting the artist's name out there. And many radio stations you'll hear are constantly giving away either trips to go see an artist, or again, they're giving away that signed guitar on air. Radio promoters are helping develop those promotions for radio that make sense, that sound good, that make listeners want to call in. And again, they're working hand-in-hand with those artist development or marketing teams to make sure that is the best avenue for the artist's dollar to be going into, because all of these little elements of marketing cost money and are coming out of the overall artist's career budget. So it's a big part, hand in hand, everybody in a label is kind of working together. The final part of a label that we're going to discuss today is creative services. This is often called the art department or image consulting at a label. They basically take care of the physical image of an artist, whether it's for a CD cover or for promo posters or those little 8x10, images of artists. They make sure that image is, again, going along with the overall brand of the artists. They are the ones, assisting with the music videos. Oftentimes, they'll be on set of music videos, assisting with that, helping find the right directors. As well as creating CD packaging. Many creative service departments are the people who actually have designers. They have graphic designers on staff. They're creating those CD covers and the overall packaging of it, making sure, again, to stay with that overall brand and image of the artist. Creative services works hand in hand with marketing and artist development. They are BFFs in the label. Again, they work with A&R, minimal interactions with radio promotion. I had very few interactions with our creative department, but there's still the occasional need to touch base on that. But yeah, so those are the 4 main departments in a record label. I know it's a lot of information, and hopefully I could make it a little easier to understand, but again, please feel free to post below if you have any questions, and again, I'll do my best to answer them. Tomorrow we're going to be discussing the world of publicity, so make sure you check back in tomorrow, and thank you so much for watching today. Bye!